Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we take a look at the astrological energies from September 25th until October 2nd, where we are now in Libra season. And I'm going to give it to you straight. This is a rocky, tumultuous week of Libra energies. In fact, most of Libra season is going to lack stability and consistency. There will be roller coasters, dips, swerves and turns, and we're also dealing with deeper layers of relationship energies that are uncomfortable. And this relates to Black Moon Lilith, which is in Libra until the end of March 2025. And as we move through this week specifically, we have the Sun in Libra conjunct the supergalactic center. We're going to see Mercury enter Libra and be conjunct the supergalactic center. Both the Sun and Mercury in Libra will be conjunct the previous Libra Lunar Eclipse back in March. That was the March 25th lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Libra. And then we have our last Libra Solar Eclipse in this cycle at 10 degrees of Libra on October 2nd. So the first decan of Libra degrees are very active with cleansing, purging, removals. And overall, how I'm seeing this energetically is that we're going through evolutionary growing pains. We are going through significant relationship frequency shifts that are taking us into new relationship skills, new ways of connecting and sharing from our authentic, truer self. But the eclipses we've been going through in Libra are requiring us to shake off what's kept us out of balance, including previous versions of ourselves, previous habits, patterns, old attachment styles, avoidance, poor communication skills, an inability to resolve conflict or discuss difficult relational points. All of that is where we are upgrading, and this evolutionary shift brings about discomfort as we learn new skills. We hold ourselves to higher standards, both within ourselves and with others, and to also get clearer around our intentionality in relationships, being more intentional with how we connect, with whom we connect, what matters to us in these connections. All of this energy in Libra is being upgraded, but with these intense destabilizing energies moving through, it shows us what is not working first, what's broken, what's not fulfilling, what's fallen out the back, and what is no longer sustainable. And so the relational dynamics as we move through basically most of Libra season this year are, we'll say, challenging. They're going to show us what is underdeveloped. Think of it that way. That's a diplomatic word, underdeveloped, where there's potential to improve it, to develop it more, to work with it. And there are also important choices to be made here around what you put your energy towards and what you realize is no longer a frequency match and it's not worth the time, energy, or attention. And when I say relationship frequency match, I'm actually seeing it as these two separate sets of sound waves that don't connect. Where, let's say, you're saying one thing and the other person's hearing something totally different, or you're wanting to discuss one thing, but you can't get on the same page with someone. It doesn't connect. It's not forming. There's no union energies. And union is a priority with Libra. Libra wants those connections and the equilibrium as well that's built into healthy dynamics. So over this next week, there is more coming up here that can be uncomfortable. Now, with this Black Moon Lilith energy moving through Libra, which is a 9-month transit, Black Moon Lilith is where the moon is at apogee. It's furthest from the earth. It doesn't have light. And so there is a built-in shadow element, darkness, that we are all being guided to connect with in ourselves, to take ownership over. Meaning, understanding what you're ready to improve or what you need to do better. Perhaps understanding I need to be a better communicator, or I need to be more neutral or more objective. Perhaps I need to detach in some manner in some things. Maybe I'm overly invested and it's suffocating somebody. Maybe you're too much of a giver and that is out of balance. That isn't what's needed. So there's an element here of understanding what's been operating within you at an unconscious level that is out of balance and not serving you, perhaps even to the point of destruction, destroying connections, or even taking things so out of balance that they can't return to that neutral point. And in addition to Black Moon Lilith in Libra, which is where we hold discontent, anger, perhaps the desire for control and maintaining power in a relationship, the sun has just moved across the supergalactic center, which is at 2 degrees of Libra. This is different than the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. The supergalactic center is basically a giant vortex and vacuum that connects our galaxy to over 50 other galaxies. And of course, it could be many, many more than that. But it's essentially a very obsessive energy. Obsessive, addicted, unsettled. It's the need to always fulfill oneself from a source outside oneself. It's always looking for that partner to complete you, or that energy outside of your own field to call in or pull in because you don't feel whole and complete yourself. And so when the sun just moved across this point, it is a triggering point that brings up, why do I enter relationships? What are those about for me? Where do I maintain my sense of self and knowing my needs, knowing who I am, while also sharing and bringing to the table the truth of who I am and allowing the other to do the same? And so this connection to the supergalactic center can bring up very unhealthy patterns and habits. It can bring up both attachment habits as well as avoidant habits. And there's going to be more to think about here as Mercury enters Libra September 26th and moves across the supergalactic center as well. Then we have on September 27th, the sun at 5 degrees of Libra conjunct that Libra Lunar Eclipse from March of this year, March 25th, 2024. And now 6 months later, the sun is conjunct that degree point of the Libra lunar eclipse at 5 degrees. And so now the sun highlights that same eclipse point in your chart and brings your consciousness to what you have realized, what you're working through, what you're learning, what you're coming to understand about relationships that have formed you, that have established your relational dynamics with others, where you have been perhaps locked in a cycle that has limited your own growth. And the sun in Libra brings about an objective understanding. And these early degrees of Libra, by the way, are still going to be active into January because we're going to have the South Node continue to move through these points. So again, the first 10 degrees of Libra in your chart are highly active right now, and they're bringing you into a deeper understanding of your own relationship patterns, especially the unhealthy ones that you're being guided to mature, to own, to further develop. And it also brings in relationship modeling, how you learned about healthy relationships or not, your first impressions of relational dynamics, how you saw people talking through issues or working together to solve something, how you perhaps were in an environment of a happy, healthy union. And typically this relates to our parents because they are the first example for most people of a union, of partnership, and of dialogue and conversation. But as I say all this, what typically happens is that many people realize I didn't have that. I didn't have that. I didn't know I didn't have that because I was younger. I didn't have parents sitting down at the kitchen table talking through issues. I didn't have them modeling for me over dinner time what it looks like to be a team, to be in a union. I didn't have that modeling. And that is a trend for many generations because the outer planets in Libra have destabilized what we define in partnerships. Meaning, Uranus in Libra is the generation that had very unstable, fast-moving changes in partnerships in their lives. Uranus in Libra is here to do something out of the box with connections that works at a whole new level, but there would have been perhaps chaos, very unhealthy dynamics, quite disruptive dynamics as well. So the Uranus in Libra generation is looking at what authentic partnership really means. And that's part of that evolutionary journey. Then you have the generation that was born with Neptune in Libra. And Neptune can be one parent leaving, the absent parent, the absent partnership, the fading away of what that modeling looks like or what that should be. It can be lies around a partnership where it's presented in one manner for friends and family, but behind the scenes, it's a very different story, perhaps with alcoholism, addictions, escapism, abuse of some kind. So the Neptune in Libra generation is learning to fill in the voids and to form a new vision and understanding of what a true, grounded, real-life partnership looks like. Not idealized, not in the movies, not something that you're sold to because it makes you feel good. This is a generation that's been learning about real connection because of the lack of connection that was modeled or that was apparent. Then we have the Pluto in Libra generation, which is the energy of destruction of those partnerships. So higher divorce rates, latchkey kids, feeling like the family zone wasn't always safe or the parenting model was built with power struggles and control dynamics that probably weren't evident when you were younger, but as you got older and you did your healing work, you understood what was not healthy. Pluto in Libra is completely transforming what healthy relationships look like through a lot of work, through intentional deep dive, and perhaps through a lot of failed relationships that either modeled the childhood experiences or were catalysts for doing it completely different. So the Pluto in Libra generation is getting to a deeper truth around what true connection means and asking for deeper vulnerability, intimacy, honesty, and a willingness to be more authentic. So when we look at how the outer planets have all been in Libra, similar to the outer planets have all traveled through Scorpio and Sagittarius and Capricorn, what we're understanding is that this evolutionary shift we're moving through is part of these soul group missions to change relational dynamics, to up-level them through discomfort, through pain, through healing, through very challenging circumstances. And all of this plays into Libra season of 2024. It also directly relates to this week, because you could get some insights this week that maybe shake your world, disrupt you, again, pulls you out of balance so that you can see with greater objectivity what's not working and why, especially if it relates to family lineage or, again, going back to relationship modeling that was unhealthy, that wasn't based on trust, communication, shared values, genuinely enjoying the other person and liking them. Now is the time that we are gaining clarity and energetic understanding of what it means to truly authentically share our energy with others in a loving, kind, respectful way that is part of the new paradigm. Now, of course, there are millions of people who have happy partnerships, happy unions, happy business partnerships and friendships. But with this energy of Libra, we're meant to understand what is out of balance within us, that it's time to correct, to self-correct. And this is the energy of potentially having some open or difficult conversations that are very honest and true. This could also be setting the stage for your own understanding of what you've been learning about connections, justice, fair and equal exchange, healthy conversation habits. All of these are strong Libra expressions. And for many who identify as an empath, light worker, starseed, energy healer, intuitive, one of your themes could be understanding how you overgive, and that overgiving has served a purpose for you, or that you have done more to maintain a connection, maybe because you have more energy, more desire, you just naturally put your energy towards other people more easily and effortlessly, in which case part of your equilibrium is coming back to that neutral internal point of understanding, am I doing too much for others to their own detriment and to my own detriment? People can overgive for many reasons. It can happen, of course, stemming from childhood in order to be seen and recognized, in order to be loved. It also can be a control dynamic, unconscious control dynamic, that if I overgive and I overprovide, then I will demonstrate that I am more powerful. I will exert more of my energy onto a situation or a conversation or an experience. It keeps me from being vulnerable, where I then don't have to receive or ask for what I need. So there can be some deeper layers here to understand in these energetic exchanges. And all of that is coming up this week and into Libra season, because not only is the sun moving across that previous lunar eclipse degree point at 5 degrees. Then we have the Libra Solar Eclipse at 10 degrees on October 2nd. And then we're going to have the sun move across last year's Libra Solar Eclipse point at 21 degrees. So basically, we have 3 eclipse points being activated over the next few weeks that stir up all of these Libra themes, and you could really have it be front and center in your life and in your world. And in addition to that, again, Black Moon Lilith is here in Libra, and the South Node is in Libra. And these are all ultimately healing points, but it's healing through discomfort. There needs to be realizations made, and there needs to be an understanding of what you're moving away from. Again, this is an evolutionary upgrade. We are changing the frequency matches in relationships. There are things that you'll no longer connect to in other people. Maybe you'll find it frivolous or ridiculous or no longer an interest. And then there'll be new things that you connect to in other people that light you up, that raise your vibration, that make you feel happier and more joyful. All of this is a sign of your own healing journey and ascension process. All of this is connected to our collective spiritual growth. But for all the ways it's collective, it's also highly individual. So we're going to see relationship disconnects. We're going to see relationships crumble and fall apart because they don't have the correct energetic foundation anymore. We're going to see, yes, breakups and separations, but we're also going to see more things gelling and coming together. And that could be quite unexpected. It's almost like, how can these two things connect? What do they even have in common? Well, it's an energy match. And it's the energy match that is going to continue to guide people together. So with that being said, stay open to the unexpected people you meet, to who you come in contact with, where you feel the energy is good. It flows, it's effortless, it just lines up. And then also understand that we're moving away from the basic mental concepts of relationships. Also, the expectations of relationships, which can show up as many things. But the first thing I'm getting is that because the energetic connection is primary and foundational, you might find yourself connecting with people who are outside your age group, who are older or who are younger. And it's simply because they now hold an energetic match that is correct for you. So again, stepping outside of our expectations of who we should connect to, who we know, who we hang out with, who our friends are, all of that is shifting and evolving. And it's even bigger during Libra season. On September 29th, the sun will be conjunct the south node in Libra at 6 degrees. And this is a deeper cleaning out point. And it also relates to that March 25th lunar eclipse point. So all of this signifies bigger changes that maybe you've already been feeling and sensing. And Libra wants to talk about it, wants to share it. So it can be beneficial to have a trusted source or way to move the energy of what you're truly thinking, of what's really on your mind, and understanding that it's also right on time. I feel that with the sun conjunct the south node, it can be normal to pull back and want more time to yourself. And so I know that's contradictory to what I just said about talking it out and sharing with somebody, but that could be part of the push-pull, is that you're trying to figure out, how much do I share? How much do I talk about? And how much do I keep for myself? Because I just need more time to move through this and process it. The mental body is very alive right now. Our minds can feel very full with choices, decisions, options, thoughts, things from the past coming back around that you're meant to see in a new way or in a different light. I see this as learning from previous choices or past mistakes, learning from the path you've walked and understanding what you didn't previously see. Because those realizations can come in quite fast right now, where almost like in the blink of an eye, you can see a former version of yourself and understand, wow, I would handle that differently now. Or this is what I would do instead. This is what I would say instead. That's part of this energy. It's like it's coming up to show us how you are moving into a higher level, a higher playing field, and that you are your own teacher and student. And so there is an element of self-reflection here through past circumstances and previous cycles that are coming back around. And then we have Mars in Cancer, stirring up the pot from the past, previous emotions, what is still unsettled, what is still churning and moving around within you that you're looking to move past or move through. On September 29th, Mars in Cancer is trining Saturn retrograde in Pisces at 14 degrees. And I feel that this reiterates a theme around the path you've walked, what you've experienced, and what you're learning about your own emotional world. And this Mars in Cancer trining Saturn gets emotional stability. You could have a clear answer come through that affirms a feeling, that affirms what you're emotionally processing, and it's validating. It's a good feeling. It's like, yes, that's accurate. Yes, that's true. And it can settle that Mars in Cancer turbulence. I'm also getting the visual of memory recall, that out of the blue, you could have memories from the past, which aren't truly in the past. They're just on another timeline that is running parallel to your current reality. But it's like this bleed over of timelines where I feel something spilling over into the current consciousness that is a memory recall, that's a reminder of a situation or something maybe unfinished, unresolved. The energy is incomplete because Mars is wanting to trust yourself more. But first, it feels like fighting yourself, fighting your younger self, fighting a previous version of yourself, fighting the inner child. And there's this internal discomfort that we're going to keep working through. And that's because Mars is going to be in Cancer for 6 months. And Mars is not in his shadow zone just yet. The shadow zone begins October 5th. But again, I'm seeing this spillover effect that can be confusing, because even if you thought something was done, it's done in parts of your body, there's something in the emotional body that is still moving through it and filtering out more of the immature feelings, especially reactions and defense mechanisms. Because when Cancer doesn't feel safe, there can be very extreme defense mechanisms and reactions. There can also be the need to completely shut down and withdraw. So basically, this Mars in Cancer is highly inconsistent right now, and it's going to be important to have tools and outlets for moving the energy for yourself, the emotional energy, especially related to the body, which Mars rules. So whether that is going for a walk or getting on the yoga mat, lifting some weights, going for a swim, even doing anything supportive with water, Epsom salt, or taking a shower, even a cold shower to cool off, all of that can help move this flow of energy so that Mars in Cancer isn't staying locked into old, outdated energies, memories, or past life recalls as I'm feeling them. There can honestly be confusion between your mental body and your emotional body. There can be a sense of what's true, what's real. Well, it's all real. It's all true. You're just accessing more parts of your energy field that is all shifting. It's all confirmation as well of your multidimensionality, that you're leveling up, and all these places in yourself that are active in other lifetimes, in other timelines, in other experiences are all feeling it. They're feeling that discomfort because they're not in energetic alignment with the new version of yourself that is gaining strength and empowerment. So that's also how I feel this week, is that you're going to feel parts of yourself shaking or quaking and having some big emotional or energetic experiences because they're not at a frequency match of your fuller self right now. And it's a bit like the universe saying, this is where you got to change the energy. This is where the vibrational match needs to be upgraded. And again, I feel that happening through basically all of Libra season. And that's because the Sun and Mercury are going to be moving across, again, 3 Libra eclipse points, working with Black Moon Lilith and working with the South Node in Libra. And so if you can see it as an evolutionary upgrade and that we're moving through relational frequency shifts, that can help you understand the bigger picture of it all and also maintain a sense of self in what you're correcting or willing to do differently, because on a cosmic scale, it's right on time. Now, we also have the Libra Solar Eclipse on October 2nd. I did a podcast episode for you on Monday, September 23rd, discussing some of those themes. I also released a video for you on YouTube going through the chart of this Libra Solar Eclipse. Again, it's happening at 10 degrees of Libra, which is an eclipse degree point that was also activated in October 2005. So 19 years ago. If you want to look back at that time in your life, it would have activated the same house in your chart. Now, keep in mind that when we reference previous eclipse points, the planets were all in different places. So the only thing that really matters is the house that you have 10 degrees of Libra in. This is the house that was undergoing these eclipse changes. All the outer planets were in a different place. Most likely the personal planets were in different signs and places. So to reference back 19 years, you're just looking at, okay, if this eclipse happened for me in my 11th house in 2005 and it's happening again in my 11th house in 2024, what are the same 11th house themes that I can have a heads up about, which could be your life path, your life vision, friends, what you were dreaming about for next steps and who was going with you on those next steps. So again, look at the house placement because that is the primary thing to reference. And I do have a video for you here on YouTube that goes through the 12 astrology houses in your chart, especially for those of you who are light workers and starseeds. I implement those themes so that you can look at your 12 astrology houses through that lens that could be more specific for you. Now, this particular Libra solar eclipse will be a ring of fire eclipse. It's an annular solar eclipse, and it's occurring over the Pacific Ocean, as well as Argentina, Chile, the Falkland Islands, and just a bit north of Antarctica. The wave, or the S shape of this solar eclipse, starts just below Hawaii and goes through the South Pacific. So with a solar eclipse moving over this territory on our planet, all these areas are highlighted for change, disruption, evolution, and new starts. There can certainly be many new discoveries on this area of our planet. Not that they're always disclosed by any means, but it can also signify more weather turbulence, more changes, and more activity. This is also a long solar eclipse as it lasts for just over 7 minutes. By comparison, the April solar eclipse that we had lasted for just over 4 minutes. So with this eclipse lasting for over 7 minutes, that means that the Earth feels more of this ring of fire influence. It leaves a deeper imprint, especially on the ocean and the land masses that it's touching. It holds more significance, especially for the path of totality that it travels across, which are the places I just mentioned. So with all of these themes around Libra upgrades, endings, and frequency shifts, we have a lot of exciting new potentials here. There's the potential for new synergies to take place, for more effortless harmony that aligns. And there's also a focus on greater intentionality. And that means understanding where to invest your energy in those partnerships, relationships, and connections that naturally match you, and understanding as well what is falling away, what has served its purpose, what has perhaps fulfilled its purpose, and you can let it go with love and compassion for what you've learned. There can be fresh, out of the blue connections that just work. They're just easy. They allow you to be more of who you are while allowing the other person to be more of who they are. And there's less to, quote, figure out. Now, of course, all relationships take energetic investment and communication skills, but there's an up-leveling here where you could find it's just easier to be yourself with certain people, or that you don't have to do as much work because it's not a healing relationship. It's not a karmic relationship. It's not requiring you to close out something. Rather, it's opening you up. It's expanding you into more of what you need and want in your connections. And this is important because we are designed to be social beings. We are geared neurologically for connection, for conversation, for interactions with other people. There's a part of us that seeks that out and wants to enjoy life with more people who are on our same wavelength and where there's a frequency match. And so I feel that that will be the reward for what is cleared out, purged, and realized during Libra season this year. And it reminds me of that saying that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And there's a poem that is credited to Brian Chalker that I'm going to read here for just a moment. And it goes, when someone is in your life for a reason, it is usually to meet a need you have expressed outwardly or inwardly. They have come to assist you through a difficulty, or to provide you with guidance and support, to aid you physically, emotionally, or even spiritually. They may seem like a godsend to you, and they are. They are there for a reason. You need them to be. Then, without any wrongdoing on your part or at an inconvenient time, this person will say or do something to bring the relationship to an end. What we must realize is that our need has been met, our desire fulfilled, their work is done. The prayer you sent up has been answered, and it is now time to move on. When people come into your life for a season, it is because your turn has come to share, grow, or learn. They may bring you an experience of peace or make you laugh. They may teach you something you have never done. They usually give you an unbelievable amount of joy or growth or realizations. Believe it, it is real, but only for a season. And like spring turns to summer and summer turns to fall, the season eventually ends. Lifetime relationships teach you a lifetime of lessons, those things you must build upon in order to have a solid foundation of self. Your job is to accept the lesson, love the person or people, and put what you have learned to use in all other relationships and areas in your life. It is said that love is blind, but friendship is clairvoyant. So whether this resonates with you or not, you might have realizations during Libra season around the people in your life, if they came in for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. And you might also understand more about what you bring to the table for others as well. So if you're feeling that it's time for you to move on, that it's time for you to trust the next season of your life, this eclipse energy is going to bring that up and is going to help you let go of what you've outgrown so that you can make that next choice for your best and highest good. Of course, this doesn't mean that every relationship ends or that every partnership is over. Rather, it means each individual is being invited to upgrade the connection and the partnership, to be a better partner, to step into more of what you want to offer and share with the other, and to own that so that the relationship stays alive. Relationships are meant to be pulsing, beating, dynamic parts of ourselves. And if they have grown too stale or stagnant, or the energy is not pulsing with life, then it's our job to bring that energy to the table and to revitalize them. And so this eclipse season could help with that, with revitalizing those connections that are good for you, that empower you, that are good for your heart, your body, your mind, your spiritual growth, and also give you a new appreciation for the people in your life, to appreciate them, to have gratitude for who you've met and why you've met them, for who shows up and sits down at your table. And this particular eclipse cycle will play out at least into January. This is the last Libra eclipse we have in this cycle. And then in March 2025, we have eclipses in Virgo and Aries. Because this eclipse cycle started in October 2023, this can also be information you've been working with. You're aware of it. You've been feeling it. You've been sensing it, and you get it. You're aware of the themes coming up for you, or what you're ready to upgrade, and the frequency shifts that are unfolding. This could be that eclipse that then brings about those changes, that moves it from just the concepts or the discussion points and really puts it into action. So again, the Libra areas of your chart, very active throughout all of Libra season this year, but especially the first decan. The Libra solar eclipse is the time to set the intention for better connections, better friendships, better partnerships, better people in your world and in your life. And to know that that is a powerful declaration to the universe that can manifest quickly, that you can meet somebody or have surprising, unexpected connections show up, especially with the higher frequencies being so strong right now. Be sure to check out my chart video on YouTube where I go through the specifics in the Libra solar eclipse chart, including the water grand trine between Venus and Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, and Saturn in Pisces. And we'll be touching on that more next week. And in the spirit of eclipse season, I have a surprise for you. I have a new astrology course available that's called Your Cosmic Codes, 12 Universal Spiritual Laws in Your Astrology Chart. And this is a course where I show you how to look at your astrology chart through the lens of universal spiritual laws, which spiritual laws are stronger in your chart, which ones are perhaps more effortless for you and always open and flowing. And I teach you how to look at this energy so that you can work with it more intentionally. Now, this course is divided into two parts. In the first part, I go through 12 universal spiritual laws, and each one includes 5 sections, including what the spiritual law means, what it looks like in the real world, a short intuitive message, the astrological connections, and then exercises, practices, ways that you can make the spiritual law more tangible and real for you. Then in part 2, I go through and show you how to connect those 12 universal spiritual laws to the energies in your chart. And this is a great exercise to see your chart in a whole new way, which is really cool. And then to also understand what you have access to that maybe you didn't realize was already present in your chart. And I teach this information through instructional videos, audio guidance, exercises for you to practice, and there's also instructions for working with intentions and writing things out. So this is more of an interactive course, and it's pretty cool to see what is in your astrology chart through this lens, especially as it applies to astrology signs, astrology houses, and the planets. So I'll put the link below the podcast here if you want to click over and check this out. As a little bit of background, I started learning about the universal spiritual laws back in 2002. That's when I had my first spiritual awakening. That's when I started to step into the magic of what it means to intentionally create your life based on energies. So this is information that I've been practicing and living for over 20 years, and I love it. I'm passionate about it, and I really hope it supports you too. So again, it's called Your Cosmic Codes, and I'll put the link below the podcast here. As always, thank you so much for joining me for this podcast. I'll be back every Wednesday and Monday for a new episode. Wishing you the very best as we move through these topsy-turvy Libra energies, and hoping the changes and developments bring about awesome insights for what you are upgrading and what is a frequency match for you next. Have a beautiful week ahead, and I'll see you back here soon. Take good care.